What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. So if you're looking for a new dash camera and you go on Amazon and you search for a dash camera, there are so many dash cameras available that it's almost impossible to know which one to choose. Now you can find dash cameras for about $30, but you can also find dash cameras around $500. So I figured I'm gonna choose 3 dash cameras around $150 because I figured $150 is a good amount to spend on a dash camera. I don't want one that's super cheap, but I also don't want a camera that's super expensive. So I chose 3 dash cameras from Amazon. The first one that we have here is the Garmin Mini 3. This one is about $145, or it was at the time that I bought it. Then we have the Vantrue E1 Pro. This one again was about $140 at the time that I bought it. And this one is the Viofo A119 Mini 2. And I believe this one was about $145 at the time I bought it. So they're all under $150. Let's say you can probably find them a bit cheaper or a bit more expensive depending when you buy them. Now, when it comes to dash cameras, there are a few things that are important. First of all, the image sensor used in the dash camera, and secondly, what recording resolution the camera does. So our Garmin Mini 3 here, it's using the Sony Starvis 1 and the maximum recording resolution is 1080p. Our Vantrue camera here, it's using the Sony Starvis 2 and the recording resolution is 4K. Where our Viofo camera here, it's also using the Sony Starvis 2, but the recording resolution from this one is 2K. So of course, when it comes to license plates and basically zooming in, because if a car is further away from you, you're gonna have to zoom in on that footage to actually see the license plate if something does happen. The higher the resolution, the better the chances that you're actually gonna be able to see that license plate. So I've done a bunch of recordings during the day with these 3 dash cameras, so I'm gonna play some of those recordings just so you get a better understanding how these 3 cameras do while recording outside them basically during the day. So let's check out those sample recordings. The footage comes from all 3 cameras, hasn't been modified in any way. I did zoom in on some parts of that footage just so you can see those license plates a bit more clear. So let's play some of those recordings and I will be right back after. Alright, and we are starting our recordings with our 3 dash cameras, the Garmin, the Vantrue, and of course the Viofo. The biggest difference here will basically be the resolution. The resolution from the Vantrue is the highest. So this one records in 4K, then the Viofo records in 2K, and then the Garmin dash camera does record in 1080p. So for example, if we have a vehicle like we do in front of us right now, you're going to be able to see that license plate much more clear from the recording from the Vantrue, because of course the resolution is much higher than the other 2 cameras. So if I'm gonna zoom in on this license plate, I'll get a bit closer to this vehicle. So basically, if I will zoom in on this license plate, you're gonna be able to see the license plate much clearer from the recording done by the Vantrue camera. That's how it goes with the resolution. The higher the resolution, the clearer the recording will be, of course. So just so you get an idea how the footage from these 3 dash cameras would look like, we'll get closer to one of these vehicles here just so you can see those license plates a bit better. So on my left here, you can probably see that license plate a bit better now. I'm gonna be switching the view from in between cameras basically, so you can see it better. And of course we have more vehicles here, so you can have a better understanding of how that higher resolution helps in these kind of situations. So this is how the footage would look like if you're driving on the highway, you have a fairly sunny day out, and well, you have a bunch of cars around you as well. Alright, then next we are moving on to another recording. For this recording I am driving in a small town. We have a bit more shady areas, let's say. We have some more people, we have a few more cars, we have buildings. So I'm basically gonna switch in between cameras, in between the Garmin, the Vantrue, and of course the Viofo, just so you can get a better idea of the quality of the recordings in these kind of situations, in this kind of environment, basically. I think we can go this way. Yeah, we definitely can. So basically you can look at the signs on the street, you can look at the writings on buildings and stuff like that, just so you get a better idea how the footage looks from these three cameras, because, well, most people will probably use these cameras in these kind of environments, busier in-city environments, where it's of course very important to be able to capture the license plates and basically anything that may happen on the road. Very important to catch all of that. Alright, so you've seen some of that daytime footage that I showed you, and here, well, the footage that we got from our Garmin camera is the absolute worst. I am kind of sorry that I bought this camera, because that footage doesn't look great at all, and I think I could have found other cameras that are better for this money. This camera should be somewhere around $30–40 tops, because the recordings from it are not great, let's say that. The next one is the Viofo here. This one is way better than our Garmin, but when compared to our Vantrue camera, here, well, there is really no comparison, because if you start zooming in on those license plates, you can clearly see that the license plates are captured more clear from the recordings done by the Vantrue. And I have some screenshots here that I took of the 3 recordings from the 3 cameras, and I'm zooming in on the screen basically so you can see those license plates for yourself without the video moving. So, of course, the recordings that you're gonna get in 4K from the Vantrue camera are definitely better. So, next we're gonna move on and check out some nighttime recordings. So, I'm gonna do the same as I did with the daytime recordings. First, I'm gonna play some recordings that I filmed with all 3 cameras. And of course, I zoomed in certain parts. I will try to cut that footage, make it as short as possible, once again, so I don't make this video that long. So let's check out those nighttime recordings, because nighttime recordings are also very important. And then I'll be right back. Alright, then we are moving on to our first nighttime recording. Of course, we have the Garmin, we have the Vantrue, and the Viofo camera. Now, for nighttime recordings, this is where a lot of dash cameras struggle. So now I'm gonna start showing you the footage that we get from the Garmin. Remember, this one is done in 1080p. Next, I'm gonna switch over to the footage that I got from the Vantrue camera. Remember, this one is done in 4K. And next I'm going to be switching to the footage that I got from the Viofo camera, because I want to show you how these 3 dash cameras do in the dark, because this is the problem with a lot of dash cameras. They do great during the day, but not so much at night. Alright, and we are moving on to our next nighttime recording. As you can see for yourself, we are in town. We have a bit more street lights around here. We have some more vehicles. We have some more action happening. Basically, I'm gonna try to get behind a vehicle just so we can see how those license plates look like under these conditions, because in this kind of environment, you can have the lights reflecting in those license plates a bit more. So even though there is more light, it could actually be a bit more difficult seeing those license plates. So, for example, this vehicle here, I'm gonna switch the footage in between the Garmin, the Vantrue, and of course the Viofo camera, just so you get a better idea how this license plate would be seen at night, of course, but with some street lights, because as you can see, the way my headlights kind of point towards that license plate, in some situations you can see it better, in some not so much. So it really depends on the situation, but we're trying to see which camera does best under these kind of conditions. Okay, and we're moving on to our next nighttime recording. I am on the same dark road where I was earlier. I do have a car in front of me. You can see the license plate because I am fairly close. So once again, I'm gonna switch the footage from the Garmin dash camera, so the 1080p recording. I am at the same distance basically. Next, we're gonna move on and switch the footage from the Vantrue camera, so you can see how that license plate looks like. And now that you've seen how it looks from that camera, we're gonna switch the footage to see it from the Viofo camera. Unfortunately, our car took off, but I hope that you got an idea how these three dash cameras capture the license plates if you are driving at night basically. I'm now close to this one, so once again I will switch the footage in between the Garmin, the Vantrue, and of course the Viofo, just so you see that license plate better, because this car is not running away from us this time. Okay, so we are continuing our nighttime driving. So once again we have another example for another license plate. I'm actually pretty close to it, and there are no lights reflecting in it. I was able to see that license plate quite well. We have another one here that I can see quite well. We'll see how these actually show up on our three dash cameras. I'll switch the footage in between the dash cameras so you can see that one. But basically my headlights reflect in this one quite a bit, so I guess it could be difficult in some situations to see. Alright, and I am back. So nighttime recordings are difficult for any cameras, of course, because, well, the sensors are fairly small, they can't get enough lights, so it's always a bit challenging for cameras to record at night. Now, the worst footage, as we are expecting, once again comes from our Garmin camera, which I said that we shouldn't have bought, but it is what it is. Now we've done the video. Our second best, of course, is the Viofo, as I kind of expected from those daytime recordings, even though I did notice that the footage from this one has a lot of noise. If you zoom in a bit on that footage, you will notice a lot of noise in those recordings. And the best one, once again, is from our Vantrue camera. So once again, I do have some screenshots that I took from those recordings from earlier, so you can see those license plates on your screen and decide for yourself which one is the more clear one out of the three. But I feel that the Vantrue does better for those nighttime recordings as well. So for overall video quality, I feel that the Vantrue E1 Pro here is the best out of the three cameras that we had, with our Viofo camera being the second, and that Garmin that nobody should actually ever buy. Now, even though the video quality is one of the most important factors for any dash camera, of course there are many other factors that kind of play all together when considering a dash camera. Another very important factor is the GPS unit in these cameras. Now, when I bought this, I actually thought it had a GPS unit inside, but the Garmin does not have a GPS unit. So you've probably noticed in those recordings that at the bottom of the screen there are no GPS coordinates, there is no speed displayed. Well, that has to do with the fact that this one doesn't actually have a GPS unit inside. I thought it did, but it doesn't. Our Vantrue camera here, of course, has a GPS unit inside. You can clearly see the speed displayed on those recordings. You can see the GPS location, and the same goes for the Viofo camera. So the Viofo and the Vantrue camera do have a GPS unit inside. The GPS unit on this one is at the top here. I'm assuming this one also has the GPS unit at the top here. Now, you can also turn on or off those GPS coordinates and the speed from those recordings, because in some situations maybe you don't want to show the speed that you're doing in those recordings. So that is entirely up to you, but that can be turned on or off from the camera's menu or from the app. Since we are talking about the app, well, all three dash cameras here have an application of their own. Now, the Garmin here does need an application to do any changes because, well, as you can see for yourself, there is absolutely no screen. There is nothing to see on this. So you always have to use the application for this one if you want to make any changes to the camera's setting. Now, our Vantrue camera here and the Viofo, of course, have applications themselves, but they also have screens on the back. Now, on the back of the Vantrue here, we have a 1.54 inches screen, where on the back of the Viofo, we have a 1.5-inch screen. So you can basically see what the camera sees right on the screen here. You can make changes right on the camera. The one thing I did notice is how much brighter the screen on the Vantrue camera is compared to the screen that we have on the Viofo camera. If you're out on a sunny day, you can almost not see the screen of the Viofo camera because it just doesn't get that bright, where the screen on the Vantrue is much brighter. And since we're just talking about the screens on the three cameras, I might as well show you the cameras and their sizes. So of course the smallest one out of the three is the Garmin one. This is actually the smallest dash camera that I got to see and basically try up until now. Now, it's great that it's small, but it has some downsides with this small size. As you've seen for yourself, the video quality is not the greatest. The next smallest one, I feel that it's our Vantrue camera, even though it's kind of similar in size to the Viofo camera. I guess it depends how you look at them. They're fairly similar in size. They're fairly small dash cameras. I mean, I've seen much bigger dash cameras before. So if you put this behind the mirror in your car, you shouldn't be able to see any of them. All three dash cameras, of course, can take SD cards as well. I believe that the Vantrue can take SD cards up to 1 terabyte, where the other two cameras can take SD cards up to 512 gigs. Personally, I've only tried 64 gig SD cards in all three of them, but I figured I'll mention that as well. Now, taking everything into consideration, the price, the quality of the video recordings, the features and everything else, out of the three cameras, I feel that the Vantrue E1 Pro here does the best. So this one does the best during the day, so you can actually see the license plates on those vehicles. It also does the best at night. The footage is nice and crisp, so there isn't as much noise as you get from the Viofo. This one doesn't do bad at night, but in comparison, the Vantrue does seem to do better. So if you're looking for a new camera, maybe the Vantrue E1 Pro here is the one to consider, because it does offer really good value for its price. As always, I will leave some links to these products in the video's description so you can check out any of these out. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll try my best to answer whatever questions you may have. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.